Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, my name is Laila Tuzuria with ID number 24 2020 92, and I am from class C. Today I would like to talk about cultural differences, especially about direct and indirect communication between Eastern and Western cultures. Before I go deeper, let's start with the basic understanding culture. What is culture? Culture is the way of life of a group of people. It includes how people live, think, and behave in their society. Culture is something that is learned and shared. We are not born with it, but we learn it through our family, school, and environment. Culture shapes how people see the world, how they communicate, and even how they express emotions. That's why understanding culture is very important because it influences everything we can do in daily life. The next, culture has some main characteristic and elements. First, one of the main characteristics is that culture is a learned behavior. People are not born with culture, but learn it through experience. Second, culture is way of life, which means it includes everything people do, believe, and value. Then we also have elements of culture. The first element is language, which helps people communicate and share ideas. Next is religion, which guides people's moral values and traditions. And the third is symbols, like colors, clothes, or flags, which represent meaning and emotion in every culture. All of these elements and characteristics make each culture unique, and that's why people from different places often act or communicate differently. Now, move to the next part, cross cultural understanding or CCU. CCU means understanding people from different cultural backgrounds in order to communicate and work effectively. It helps us avoid misunderstanding, respect other values, and build good relationships, and also teaches us to be more tolerant and open minded toward other cultures. For students, especially in the English department, understanding those concepts is very important because it helps us communicate better with people from different cultures. By learning about culture, characteristic and elements, and cross-cultural understanding, we can become more open-minded and respectful. It also helps us avoid misunderstandings when interacting in English, since language and culture are always connected. For example, we can understand why people from other countries may speak more directly or indirectly. It's part of their culture. Culture. Now let's focus on one main cultural difference: direct and indirect communication. In the United States, people are usually direct when they speak. They express their opinions clearly and value honesty and clarity in communication. For example, when someone says close the door, it is a direct command. Americans believe that being clear and straightforward shows respect and professionalism. In Indonesia, people tend to use indirect communication. Instead of saying things directly, they use sober or more polite expressions to maintain harmony and avoid conflict. For example, instead of saying close the door, someone might say, "Could you please close the door?" This reflects the cultural value of respect and togetherness in Indonesian society. If we look at real life, we can easily notice this difference. For example, when someone is late, an American might simply say, "You're late," but an Indonesian would say, "The traffic must be bad, yeah?" To sound polite and avoid conflict. This small example shows how culture really affects the way people communicate in everyday life. Next, connecting theory. This difference can be explained through the theory of Edward Hall, an anthropologist explained that cultures can be divided into high context cultures and low context. So, in the high context cultures like Indonesia, most of the meaning is not in the words themselves, but in the context. For example, gestures, tone of voice, relationships, or social status. People in these cultures often speak indirectly to keep harmony and avoid conflicts. The message depends on how something is said, not only what is said. For instance, if someone says maybe later, it might actually mean no, but said in a polite way. On the other hand, in low context cultures, such as the United States, the meaning is mostly in the word themselves. People prefer to be direct, clear, and open when expressing opinions. They believe that communication should be honest and straightforward, so everyone can understand easily. This theory helps us understand why Asian people tend us in their communication, while Western people are usually more direct. Hall's idea shows that communication is deeply connected to culture and that there is no better or worse way, just different. In conclusion, Americans usually speak directly because they want to be clear and honest, while Indonesians prefer to speak indirectly to be polite and keep good relationships. But ways of speaking are good and show the values of each culture. From this project, I learned that we should not judge other people's communication styles because every culture has its own meaning and reason behind the way they speak. Understanding this helps me communicate better with people from different countries. So that's all from me. Thank you very much for your attention. And wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.